Hey pups, couple of you are working on your block of the month for January, and that's the maple leaf. And some of you had some questions about the section where we work on the stem. But before we do that, I just want to talk about the half square triangles. The 5-inch squares, if you draw your line down the center, and when you draw your line down the center, make sure that you can see your corners on the edge, on the outer edge of your ruler, so that when you draw your line with your pencil, the pencil goes all the way to the points of your fabric. And if you do that and then sew 1/4 of an inch on each side of that line, then all you need to do is cut it down the center with your rotary cutter, and it doesn't need to be exactly on that line, but cut it down the center, and then come over here. And then once you do that, you're going to press to the dark. So whatever you're pressing to is on top on your ironing board. So my black is on top. I pressed to the dark, and now I'm ready to square it up with my 4.5-inch square triangle. And I'm doing that with the diagonal line running down the diagonal seam, and I'm going to lay it on there so that I make sure I have fabric hanging out on all 4 sides. I'm going to trim up 2 sides, which I've already done. Then I'm going to pick my ruler up with my left hand. With my right hand, I'm going to grab the left side of the what do you call this, block, and then turn it to the right so that my diagonal line is still running the same way as the ruler. Then I'm going to come back over, and these 2 sides have already been squared up, so I'm lining it up exactly on the edge of the fabric. So now I can square these 2 sides. So up one side and across the top. Make sure I got that. And now I have a half square triangle, 4.5 inches. And I can put it in place where it needs to go by looking at the picture. It's going up here. And so I'm going to do the second one and square it up on 2 sides. Pick up with my left hand, rotate with my right hand, put it back down on the diagonal line, hold it in place. And I always like to have one pinky hanging off the edge of the ruler, so the pinky is holding the ruler that it's not going to slide when I get the rotary cutter up against it. Okay, so we're going to pause right here so that I can come back and do the other half, the other 2, and then we're going to work on the stem. Okay, so on the stem portion, you're taking a 4.5-inch background block, and you're cutting it right down the diagonal. So again, you want to make sure that you see your points of your fabric on the outer edge of your ruler, and when you do that, your rotary blade will go right down the center. Now, where the confusion is on some of the folks are asking the questions, once you do this point, once you do this cut, you now want to fold it on the diagonal, give it a press with a finger press, just crease it, and open it back up. Then you take your stem piece and do the same thing. Fold it fold the stem in half, give it a crease, and then when you open it back up, you now have a crease to match. You're going to match it right sides together, right there, pin it, go sew, and then do the same with the other side, and press towards your stem, which is the black, so black will be up on your ironing board. So we're going to pause right here so I can do that. Okay, so now we're back, and I've sewed both sides of the stem. I found the center by creasing it, pinned it, and sewed each side, and then I pressed towards the stem, which is the dark. So now I've got both of those done, and you can see it's extra big. And now what we want to do is we want to square it up to 4.5 inches. So what I do here is I take my diagonal line on the ruler on my 4.5-inch square, and I'm going to run it right down the center of this stem fabric, and make sure that I have fabric on all 4 sides that I can square it up to 4.5 inches. I feel good about that. Doesn't need to be exact. It's going to look perfect. I'm going to square it up on the right side, across the top, pick it up with my left hand, rotate with my right hand. Now I know these two sides are already squared up. I'm going to line my ruler up on those two sides and square up on this side. And once you do that, you can now stick this in place and make sure that it's rotating correctly up through the center of the leaf. And now you can sew all of these together just like a 9 patch. Hope this helps you. Thank you.